by Cedar Sinai. Shifty work into the box. And across, it's in! Oh, it's Woohoo! It's a dream return!
Hey everyone, welcome to Casual FC, an Angel City preview pod. I'm your host, Angela Morales, with our in-house tech support co-host, Mario Salazar. Today, we are welcoming I guess we can say TikTok superstar, another one at this point.
Yeah.
Someone who's become one of the bigger names in WOSO TikTok, who has breaking news at like the moment it drops, has fantastic recaps, all the good intel. Caseysonthecase, who you can find on TikTok and Instagram. And she's going to be here helping us talk about the amazing players in ESPN. So Spain, Japan, Nigeria, and Brazil. So hello, welcome.
Thanks for having me. Excited to be here. It's a dream return!
All right, just to give everybody a little bit of background, this morning for our recording has been kind of a shit show. But you know what? Like Angela said, tech support here came through with whatever solution we could to band-aid this thing, and we're rolling with it. So roll with us.
So we already know the answer to this question. How you doing? What's going on? How's your life?
Shit show was my morning before the tech support. So I have 2 permanent dogs that are like mine, and then I have 2 pugs, and then I have a third that I foster normally, and then I took in an emergency 4th foster less than 24 hours ago. So and he's a puppy. So there's 4 dogs in my house, and it's a little bit chaotic. So you might hear them, but I think I gave them a yak cheese, which is like the iPad for pugs. So I hope that's going to keep them occupied. But yeah, otherwise I'm good. There are worse problems to have than 4 dogs running around your house. It's really okay.
Very true.
Very true. Yeah.
So for those who don't know, you were first in LA before moving up north to NorCal. Are you from LA originally, or what's your California locational background?
Yeah, no, it's a tricky question because I never really know how to answer it. We need like a word for folks who split time essentially between NorCal and SoCal, because I did my early childhood years in LA, and then we moved up to the Bay Area. So I would say I grew up in the Bay Area, but I had family in LA. My mom is from Victorville, which is not LA. Don't worry, I'm not trying to make that call. I would not lump Victorville in. I'm like Southern California. It's
LA's
legitimate.
not that big.
No. Well, and Victorville might as well be the South. It's just
different.
Like its whole own situation.
You get up over the mountain and it's like a different land. Yeah.
The South isn't even probably the right call. It's its own, y'all know, it's just its own things. Yeah, it's what it is. But so went down a lot as a kid, did college in LA, went back up here for law school, and then did my summer jobs in law school in LA, moved to LA.
Oh, wow.
Was in LA consistently for 6 years, and then moved. I never thought I was going back to the Bay Area. And then I moved back up to the Bay Area right before the pandemic. And now I'm back up here, but most of my lawyer work is still in LA. So I'm in LA roughly once a week anyway.
That's what it is.
You're
just from everywhere.
You're full California.
I exist in the context. Like whatever the Kamala Harris meme is right now. Sorry, I can't. That meme is like the funniest thing to me. I can't get over it.
It's interesting that my brother's a lawyer, and during the pandemic, his fiance at the time, but like his wife they were living out in Philly because she was finishing her master's, and so he moved out there, especially during the pandemic. He's just like, might as well just be over here, and so he was working LA times for the entire thing because he's different bar, different everything over here. So I'm just going to keep my job in LA. And yeah, that became a thing. And then they moved to New York for a couple of years and he was still working in LA. It's so weird. I will say the one silver lining has been the opportunity for a lot of more people to start working from home and making it like a very commonplace thing than it being like, what, you want to work from home? What are you talking about? It's now a requirement. I do need to work from home.
Yeah.
Part of the reason I have my own law firm, and sorry, I'm just going off script, but
no, it's all good.
Well, I mean, the next thing was like, oh my God, you're a lawyer. Tell us everything.
So it's fine. But yes, I have my own law firm, and I have now for a little over 2 years. And there were many reasons why that needed to happen. But part of it was like at my old job, we had started going back to the office in 2021, a couple days a week. And I'm a morning person as by the time of our recording here. And I like to get up out of bed and I'll start working at 6 and I'll just go. And then I hit my ebbs and flows are a little different. And by about 2, I don't really feel like working and I stop. And then I jump back on at 5 sometimes. That's changed now, but that was the flow then.
Yeah.
And somebody was narking on me for leaving the office at 3. And I don't think it was anyone in that location. No, I know. I would get, so I was the team I was on was out of San Francisco. I was working in the Oakland office because I was like, I don't want to go to the city. But
yeah.
And I lived walking from the Oakland office.
Oh,
so
yeah,
like, if you're
then
gonna
you
make me go to an office.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. But everybody there was very chill. So I figured out they were watching me on the cameras.
What?
That is someone had too much time. That's what that tells me.
Yeah.
Because if you're getting narked on because somebody's watching the camera, and if that's not their like actual job, calm down.
And I'm an attorney.
What is that?
It's not like I'm not still working. I would like literally walk home, go back to work. It was just like when the ebb and flow was like, so it's a 30-minute walk. So it was just when the ebb and flow was that. So I just started waving. I was just like, bye.
I love that.
What are you going to do? Fire me? I don't really care.
Yeah. Wow. That's wild. I feel like the way people have learned different ways to like micromanage through the pandemic, it's maybe chill out just a lot.
The ones that have
chill.
The ones that have embraced like what the situation is have worked. I will say that the one thing for my workplace at the moment was that they fully embraced the whole work from home thing, and we're back now in a hybrid mode where there's probably too many in office days and out of office days, but still it's at least that hybrid position. But they've embraced it, and it's not a weird thing for everybody to be like completely on Zoom, even if you're all still in the office. Everybody's at their individual desks.
I'll stay in my little corner, you stay in yours, and I'll talk to you through the internet, even though we're 10 feet away. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I unfortunately have a very in-person job. So I've been back at work. I started a new job the day LA shut down. So that was wild.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And because we're like a service provider, it's you have to be like, I do our inventory. I have to be on site regardless. So it's a whole thing. But let's talk about soccer. Let's talk about the good stuff. I don't want to talk about work.
You're like, this isn't the why we should work from home. And like,
no.
Let's talk about movement. Like, let's just talk about all sorts of stuff.
Let's talk about union organizing.
Yeah.
For some of these federations, yes, let's talk about it.
There is overlap, a lot of overlap, actually.
Definitely. So where does your love of soccer or the sport come from? And did you grow up playing, watching, all of the above? What's your soccer background?
Yeah, all of the above. Grew up playing, and I didn't really realize it at the time that it was different. But so my dad's Swedish, my mom's American. And so I was one of the few kids in the area where I was at for the first team I was on. I think I was literally the only one with a parent that had played. And then I ended up playing on a team that had a lot more folks from the Mexican community who then had obviously parents who had
everyone who played.
Yeah, like they all very different experience once that happened. Yeah, but it was starting out like it was just my dad who kind of knew, and so it very quickly became our bond with it. So I played, but I also spent my weekends watching Premier League with my dad and watching Arsenal with my dad. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's good. And he like really took a lot of time to explain tactics to me and have me watch specific players and what things were happening. So I think I benefited a lot from that. But yeah, played like kind of the standard club route in the US. And then when I was 15, I moved to Sweden and played there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's probably still the boldest thing I've ever done in my life. It's really sad. I think every single admissions essay I've had to write has been about the thing I did when I was 15. So a little. But
hey, that means that that willingness to take chances is still in there. It just has to be the right chance.
I'm up for anything. I don't care. Like I will look stupid. I didn't really speak Swedish yet when I moved by myself, my family didn't come. Sorry, the dogs are in full blown. I think there's got to be somebody who walked by outside. But anyway, so I moved there. I played. So in Sweden, they have like schools, or they did. The system's changed a little bit. But when I was there, schools for people that they think have like national team potential, and they move you all to one school, and you do like high school and then also soccer. I did that and played in the league there for a year, and then I came home. So, and then basically promptly got mono, discovered mock trial, realized that felt like a sport, but it was one they would pay me to do. And that
Nice.
was pretty much it. I played a little bit, like still club, but not at a serious level after that.
That's fantastic. Wow. To be 15 and be like, later, guys, going to Sweden for a year or two. That's awesome.
Yeah.
It was very strange, but it was good.
Just even having the confidence or the ability that when I played, we briefly touched on this, through several episodes on the pod, that when I played it, like I've played all just AYSO, local AYSO, or never went into a club team. My brother did. I was always just, as far as I went, was like more the all-star team of AYSO, but never went into club. Although being predominantly on a team that was Hispanic, Latino based, we can be a small people. We went up against very tall kids that were our age, that we were just like, there's no way we're the same age. We're not the same type of person. You have a full-on beard. What are you doing? And so there was times that it was just like that disparity was very apparent for us. But yeah, but I think that playing and being like, oh, I'm just going to play like the team from like Santa Clara or whatever, it's different than being like, yeah, I'm going to a full-on country to play.
Yeah.
Where you don't even really know the
love
language. That's awesome.
Yeah. But it's funny too, because I don't think I would have learned it if I hadn't the language, if I hadn't been playing.
Yeah.
Because like at school, I did mostly math and science stuff, and that's all the same. You don't have to learn the language. But on the field, ain't nobody got time. Like,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
where you're speaking Swedish, that's it. You're gonna learn it. And yeah, and everybody, it's not like I played on like a youth team either. Like I played with people that were like 25 to 30. And so it was like, okay, guess what? You got to hit the weight room like pretty quick here.
Wow.
So it was just a lot, but it was great. It was super cool. And I learned so much about myself that was odd. I learned a lot about soccer and different styles of play, but I just learned so much about myself too, and my own interests and what I was capable of, which was cool.
Yeah, that totally comes out in your like TikToks and your videos. And just I am amazed. We talk about and we joke about the fact that Casual FC is really for the casuals. We're not the X's and O's type people. So as Angela does dig into the
I was
X's and
gonna say,
O's.
he says we aren't, but I'm like, it's
Yeah,
you.
I'm not. So we get into it
I was
a little
never,
bit.
Yeah, I was never a player, and I didn't really get into watching soccer until 2015, 2016-ish, like that World Cup era, or should I say 2014, and then into the World Cup. But I played like every other sport that I could until then.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's such a fun community.
But I'm always amazed by like Angela's knowledge of it. And I'm like, I'm the one that played. Angela didn't even play. I'm the one that played. And yet I'm still like, yeah, X's and O's are not a thing for me.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah, and I'm like, their offensive scheme is like this, and because they have a 5-3-2, then they can run like, and it's just, my brain is wired, like hardwired for sports. It's weird.
All right. With all of your experience, I think this is probably like the most like on the nose, but like probably going to be the most interesting question of, and we've asked this from a lot of guests that we've had, is what has been your favorite soccer moment, whether it's personal from when you were playing or when you were watching, whatever. And if there's also a separate WOSO favorite moment that you have, or if it's a combined one, but with the experiences that you've had, what's your moment?
Oh gosh. My favorite WOSO moments, this is gonna hurt some feelings, but it's pretty much anytime Sweden has beaten the US. And I know, except for this last one, except for the 2023 World Cup, because that one I posted a video pretty much right after it happened. I was in tears for the US, just the way it happened.
That game was a lot.
Oh, it was so bad. Because it's just, I'm always going to root for the underdog. Of Sweden, we have 10 million people now, but we were like 6 million at one point in this whole thing. And we're
Yeah.
up there and we're giving them hell and great. So it's always been fun when Sweden's gotten a win. Those have been like the 2016 Olympics. I was still working in an office in a Big Law, and I'm like yelling in my office. It's not appropriate at all. And I was like just losing it. So
You're like, this is the best day of my life.
no, literally. And then we went on a recruiting lunch and they were like, you can order champagne. It's fine. I was like, and nobody, and now I don't work in Big Law and I can't figure out why. But I'm so sorry to anyone that offends. That hurts. And then I don't know, there're just these little moments from playing that always come back to you. I have this one, it was not a goal and it kills me in my mind. So it's still, but it's a favorite because I'm like, I did really great there. I wish that it had resulted in a goal, but what I did was really excellent. Where I had this run and I just dummied it and for the person running in behind me, and it was a sitter. And I had yelled because Anna, like, come on. But then
Yeah.
it didn't, she was not hip to the groove. So we did not, we ended up losing in overtime. But it was one of my last plays, and I'm still like, that was really cool. That was at least, we were really creative there. So
Yeah.
it didn't win anybody anything, but it was still really cool.
Yeah.
No, I completely get that. My last competitive discus throw was a PR, a school record, and then I didn't make the cutoff. I had been in like third place, and the girl after me knocked me out to get to the next level of the state championship. And I was like, cool, thanks. They just did a really big thing. And I appreciate that.
You're like, I feel great, but also
I feel great.
Could have felt better.
Yeah.
You really didn't need to do that at all.
Was it?
Yeah, sports are wild.
Was it the Swedish kit that had? I just remember a yellow kit,
Yeah.
so that's why I'm saying the Swedish kit that had the really long tag in the last World Cup. Was that Sweden?
I want to say it was where it was
Like they just put the recipe on like how to beat us.
Yeah, it was like their whole play scheme on the tab or like inside the back of the kit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think so. That sounds about.
I mean,
you're like, that sounds right.
That's some confidence.
Yeah.
So if you've ever seen one of Casey's TikToks or videos, you know that she covers everything NWSL, WOSO, but she's also an ACFC fan, which we love her for it. But yeah, that was where I was going, was like, just really quickly, I think we have to touch on the like, how much are we, where are we mentally, emotionally?
It's so hard, and it's funny. It's like, I would never change. I'm not this person, but everybody at the beginning was like, the season was like, oh, are you going to be BFC because you live in the Bay? And I'm like, no, I'm ACFC. And now I'm like, no, I'm kidding. I love you, ACFC. I will be here thick and thin, but it's a rough go. And I think the hard part is supposedly we have 2 new signings coming. I think today somebody was saying, or supposedly going to come out.
Could be today.
I saw.
Wow.
Yeah, we have to make moves. I think if these people want to keep their jobs, they have to make moves, frankly.
Yeah.
It's just been hard. And I think if I felt like things were changing or we were trying new things or if there was hope there, I'd feel very differently about it. I don't mind being bad when I see a path forward and I can see what we're doing. The problem is we've done the exact same thing now for 15 matches and it's not working. And that is the literal definition of insanity. And I am also going insane watching this. I don't know how to do this. My husband's like, why do you keep doing this? And he's an ACFC fan too. And he'll sit down with me and then 20 minutes, he's like, I gotta get up. I can't do this.
Yeah, we've talked about it. Yeah, we've talked about it in the last couple of pods. Actually, as we're recording this, our new kind of recap of the Gotham match game, because we don't have a preview, so we're just recapping the Gotham, is coming out in 15 minutes. But one of the things that as we were going down and I get to the standing section where we have our format, we get to the standing section, I'm like, Yeah, I haven't changed this for the last 3 episodes because it hasn't changed. Which is
We're just
it's
parked.
yeah, it's a good and bad thing, right? Like we haven't gone down, but we haven't gone up. But then in that whole time, those points haven't changed. So it's not like we're saying everybody tied, so everybody's slightly moving up. It's nope, we're still in the same spot.
Nope.
No, it's you're seeing the parity we saw from last season is really going
Yes.
away. And
Yes.
I was DMing with somebody about this, where somebody asked me what the issue was. And the only thing I can really think of is I think there's like something about there being 14 teams where it's like you don't feel the tightness and the pressure anymore. With that seemed to be the threshold between 12 and 14, where you start to feel the drop off. It stops feeling we can still get up to first, because you can't now, right? Those teams
Right.
that are in the first 3 spots have more points than your supporter shield winner had last season, or close to, right around that number.
Yeah.
So you're not catching them. So it's something about that pressure, I think. Obviously, those spots 7 and 8, I think, are going to be really interesting for playoffs. But I don't want to be in 7 and 8. I want to be up in the mix where everything else is, instead of down where I'm like, are we worse than Utah? I'm not sure.
Yeah. Have you ever seen there's a infographic engineer, Allison Gale, on Twitter, and she has the most beautiful infographics. Like she brings data into such a great way. And she has this standing chart that she posts every time, and you can see the movement of all the teams. And it was something really interesting to see last year, which was like there was you can definitely draw a line through the middle of the pack and be like, top 6 teams were just playing leapfrog with each other and they were just like, we don't know you guys. Like we're playing over here, we're playing with our ball. I don't know about you guys. And everybody else was just like fighting for scraps. And at this point, it's like that again. Like everybody from 8 down has not moved for the last 3 weeks. So we're starting to draw that clear dividing line of good top teams
and the we don't got it teams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll see what all the offseason is going to be, because it's like, or not the offseason here, but the transfer window is opening. There's going to be moves. I think I would honestly swap our entire midfield out. I don't need to keep a single one. Like, just give me an entirely new midfield. And if I hear somebody talk about losing Amandine Henry one more time, I'm going to lose it, because I'm sorry, that deal. And I hate that this has become now part of my ACFC brand, is that I'm an Amandine Henry hater. But that was the stupidest deal I have ever seen. You signed a 34-year-old midfielder to what? Like, we should have paid Utah to take her. Come on, man. Oh, that was so bad.
I think we have the same sentiment there was definitely a larger hit on that double trade. There was a larger hit on the defense rather than the mid.
Paige, I don't know what they were like. I get where they thought they were coming from, but I'm also sitting here and I'm like, you now only have,
one.
Yeah, one true center back. I mean, 2, but it's just, even then, that's kind of dicey. And Madison Curry, bless her, has been a complete revelation, and she's quick on the study, so great. But this ain't it. And but you got to fix the midfield first. I think the midfield's the bigger issue. And maybe getting a 9 that Becky Tweed apparently trusts besides Sid LaRue, because you cannot keep putting this much time on her. Like, that's a lot of minutes and mileage. Like, it's going to catch up to her at some point. You can't do that to anybody. If she's not comfortable Becky Tweed playing Messiah Bright or Casey Fair, like, we got to get somebody else there, because Sid's got to rest too. So
exactly. I feel like that's a whole episode in itself of just being like, hello, is anybody listening? Help. Like,
yeah, if you want to come back when we're like gearing back up to like back into our season, like we can totally deep dive on all of that.
I'm happy to
deep dive.
We can rant about whatever weird fix they decided to make or didn't. I'm very nervous here. I like nervous but curious, because I just don't see who's on the market right now that meets our needs. But I don't know.
Yep. We'll see what happens.
Okay. And then, so before we get back into the Olympics coverage, you have what I'm going to say, a certain level of social media fame here, because you have a lot of people that we can talk to and mention Casey on the Case, know who you are. It's reached a lot of people. And with all of that and the content creation, all of that stuff that's come, what has been the most surprising moment for you so far? Because you've got your professional life, you've got your lawyer life, and then you started this kind of having fun on TikTok, and then it started sprouting some legs, and I know that a lot of times it's just like, okay, where is this going? And you'll get contacted and all of that stuff. What's been the most surprising moment so far?
I think there's been two. So the first was when I first got reached out to by ESPN about their Creator Network program. That happened in like December or so. Maybe it was November. And I get this DM and I'm like, are you sure? Did you mean me? I don't think you meant me, but they did. I have thoughts on that too. But anyway, that was really weird and surreal. And then I think the funniest one was the first time I got recognized at the airport and stopped. And it was very funny because my husband does not go on TikTok. He knows I do all this and he'll joke. He's, oh, what are you going to do? Tell your little 8,000 followers about it or something. And I'm like, oh, honey. Oh, it's escalated a little bit. So it was like the first time somebody stopped me in the airport, he was just like, and I'm like,
What?
But yeah, that was really funny. So I always, please do, if you're listening to this and you're like, oh, I don't want to, you can say hi to me. I don't care. Please do say hi to me. I honestly prefer that because then I remind myself that like somebody may see me and notice my behavior. I'm like, please say hi. So that I'm like on my best behavior. Not that I'm like a dick otherwise, but I don't think I am. I'd always rather say hi than not know. So
Yeah.
that's been a little bit weird.
Like the WOSO community has to make sure that your husband knows how important you are also, because that will happen. Like, do you understand? She is a pinnacle of breaking news.
Thank you all. It's fun. It's interesting too. It's because now I can't even I can't even. I'm like, no, it's just, I don't know how like actual celebrities deal with it because it's just very funny because now it's like I cannot go to a women's soccer game without people know me, which is totally great and awesome. And it's like a cool community thing and people are always super nice and positive. But it's just also very funny because I'll be honest, I enjoy a bevy. So if you ever meet me in person and are like, this wasn't like the most coherent thought ever, I like to go to a game and have a bevy. So
yeah.
Anyway, that's me.
I love it.
That's awesome. And please let us know anytime you get to come down to LA and it lines up with your schedule and an ACFC match. We'd love to chat with you in real life.
Yeah.
No,
Get you some casual FC stickers and all kinds of fun stuff.
Yeah.
Stickers.
All right. Well, we're talking Olympics Group C here, and the best way to check out any of and all of this is on NBC, since they're the official broadcaster in the US. Select matches are going to be on Telemundo and Universo in Spanish and on the USA Network in English. But the great thing that has come up through all of this is that all matches will be available streaming live on the Peacock app. Actually, all events are supposed to be streaming live on the Peacock app and immediately available for replay. So if you're like us and we're like so hyped for the Olympics and every other sport that's going to be coming up and all the new sports that are coming up, you're going to be able to watch all of them and say, to hell with your broadcasting schedule. I will watch it when I need to watch it. And with that, all the matches for soccer, both men's and women's, actually start before the Olympics kind of get the big kickoff and the big opening ceremonies. So first matches for Group C will be on Thursday, July 25th. So Group C will have an 8 a.m. match between Spain and Japan and a 10 a.m. match between Nigeria and Brazil. Then on Sunday, July 28th.
How am I supposed to work during that? How am I supposed to?
I blocked the days. I'm not even trying. I'm not gonna, because the nice part about this is they mainlined all the matches on one day each time.
Yeah.
You can watch all three groups the same day. So just don't. Everybody's like, how am I gonna work? I'm like, don't.
Yeah.
Just
if you can, just
I know we don't have a lot of PTO in this country. It's back to the labor rights stuff, but this is probably important a day. I'm closing my office for the soccer days. But my boss is very cool, so.
Yeah, there you go. You like your boss, so it's all good.
I know her.
All right, the second group matches are going to be on Sunday, July 28th. Again, 8 a.m. Brazil versus Japan and 10 a.m. Spain versus Nigeria. And then the groups will be closing out on Wednesday, July 31st. The Group C matches both will happen at 8 a.m. and it will be Japan versus Nigeria and Brazil versus Spain. So do what Casey does. Block out your day if you can. Take the day off. Just watch soccer all day. And then, you know what? Since you have the day off, keep watching the Olympics and watch something else.
Just watch everything. My first summer where there was an Olympic Games after I graduated from college was the most devastating summer of my life, because I'm like, wait, I have to go to work. I cannot sit in front of my TV watching 6 different channels, because this is what, 2000, early 2000s. And I'm just like, how am I supposed to function when I'm at work knowing that the Olympics are happening and I can't watch them? And that was the first adult realization I had after college of just, oh, life is different now. This is awful. I hate it already. Just let me sit around and watch sports all day.
You're like, I'm going to go back for another degree. Why not?
Yeah.
Like, there's people who just, that's their profession, is that they're just collecting degrees. I don't understand financially how that works, but
yeah, same.
Seems great.
The finances, I don't get. I would do it for the breaks. Absolutely. All right. So Group C is a monster of a group. We mentioned it before: Spain, Japan, Nigeria, and Brazil. For anyone who listened to our World Cup previews, I was like screaming about African soccer and how these women need more attention because they are so ridiculously good. Brazil, obviously. Japan, obviously. Spain, duh. It's just inevitable that this is the group. I think this might be my group to watch. Of if you see any games, just focus on this group. This is easily 4 of the best teams across the world with the best players. It's just beyond. I
think everyone is like a must-watch match. There's not. I have no idea who's getting out of this group.
Exactly.
It's just this is everybody who's our group's so hard. I'm like, USA's group is not hard. I'm honestly not even worried about it. But which that may come back to bite me, but it can. That's fine. But this group, I'm sitting here, I'm like, is the only team that I feel confident 100% is getting out of Spain, and even then, like, things happen.
Yeah. So I feel like Spain is probably the most stacked team, just based off the fact that it's very similar to their World Cup roster. I feel like they have a chip on their shoulder due to everything that happened after the World Cup in the best way. They have a chip on their shoulder in the sense that they're like sticking it to the man in this sense. And I'm all for it.
Yeah.
I lost my mind after the World Cup. I was like, the labor rights part came right back up.
Yeah. The unfortunate reality of WOSO right here is that labor rights thing.
Yeah, we could talk about that with a lot of the, because I think the Nigerian Federation and their whole mess. I love that Randy, their coach, just like openly feuds with the Federation. I really enjoy that. He's just not interested in that, gonna do what I want. But this group has a lot of talent, and it's gonna be super fun to watch. And hopefully, I hope any drama that comes out of it Federation wise for anybody here is just good and advancing and not traumatic like what happened to Spain last time. So
exactly.
Yeah.
So speaking of Spain, Jenny Hermoso and Alejia is it Putelis or Puteas? Because I don't know if it's Castilian or Spanish, and my Spanish speaking brain freaks out because I'm like, it's a different language. But either way, they're back. The goal scoring machines of Spanish soccer. This team is just ridiculously good. I'm just really sad that Salma Parayuelo is not on the roster. I had to look at it like 4 times.
Isn't she on the roster?
No.
I could have sworn I saw her this morning. No?
No. And you know what? It's because I can't read.
Okay, she's on the roster.
She's on the roster. I just read the first line of forwards and not the second one. And I checked 5 times. This is so embarrassing.
Oh, it's fine. That would have been a mistake.
What is that? Yeah, so mad since midday yesterday. I've just been like, stomping around in my brain. God, I can't believe this happened. We're leaving that in because that's fun.
You know what? Your outrage. Shoot. Like the fact that she wasn't even starting last World Cup and now it's this critical piece, which I'm excited to watch her. I love with these tournaments when we get the new breakout stars too. And that's this group I think has a lot of potential folks that people are going to be talking about after the tournament. For me, I'm so excited for Patrick Buharo to be on the world stage in a way she has not gotten to be. Obviously, folks who watch Barcelona are very familiar with Patry, but if you do not watch Barcelona or Champions League or any of it, you might not have gotten to see her because she was one of the really steadfast holdouts of Las Quince. This is really her first major tournament back for a while, and she fills such a gap for Spain on that defensive mid end, which is really what Japan exploited when they demolished Spain in the group stage last tournament.
Yep.
Having Patry there, I think is just going to be, that's a game changer for Spain this tournament, somehow making them even better because it wasn't hard enough to beat Spain already.
Absolutely. They definitely looked at their roster and said, where, like you said, where were we exploited? Where are the holes? Where do we need to move people? And then they made those moves and just settled into that.
Yeah.
Here's hoping they have a great tournament, that their federation isn't stupid, and everybody just does great. I don't, like you said, I don't know who's making it out of these groups. It's stressful to think about. I'm interested to see how Japan comes out because I feel like they're in this transitional time.
Yeah.
And I looked up because Hina Sugita isn't on the roster for the Olympics, which is interesting. And I was like, oh, maybe she's just like aging out. And then I looked up the ages of everybody on the roster and I was like, oh, or she's just not on the roster. That's interesting. But I also don't know too much about Japanese soccer to really speak on a lot of the other players. So I'm curious what your thoughts are.
Yeah, it's Japan is one of, and really the Asian Federation in general, is that's some of the hardest matches to watch when we talk about like the international friendly windows. So it's really hard to get a picture of what's going on. We can look at the results. They squeaked into qualifying. That was hard. Sugita, it's like when I go back to Japan's World Cup in 2023, the single biggest, it's really the only tactical error I think that their coach made during that World Cup was starting Sugita over June Endo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if June Endo starts that match, I don't think Japan loses. I think because she swapping in at halftime, it was just like a complete game change. You don't have June Endo, so you would think then Sugita should be like totally in, but I guess I don't know if there's like some love lost there or what's going on, but there's some really exciting talents. Momoko Tanikawa is the one that I would say watch. This is her first tournament with Japan, major tournament. She had a lights out U17 World Cup in 2022, signed with Bayern at the beginning of this year, who promptly loaned her out to FC Rosengård of Damallsvenskan. She's playing in Sweden.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Yeah. So she's over there through the end of the summer, and then she'll go back to Bayern. They've got big plans for her. I think that's a really exciting player who could have a big breakout tournament here in the midfield. That's my one to watch for Japan.
Ooh, that's
Nice.
exciting. I feel like every time I end up watching any sport where there's Japanese athletes, I'm riveted because everything is so precise and full of intention. There's just everything has a reason and there's like a dissertation behind a single movement. And I love it. I absolutely love it. Okay. One of my very good friends from college, we ran track together, or he ran and I threw, but he's Nigerian and he's the reason why I love every Nigerian team with like my whole heart. Like it's almost like I cheer for them with the same fervor that I do for the US when it comes to international competitions. I'm like, let's go. And they all have the best kits and jerseys and team names and like reception. And it's just, it's so fun to watch Nigerian teams in general. But Super Falcons are easily top 3 favorite teams for me.
I love them. I want to see them get out of this group so badly. I want them out of the group. I'm honestly like okay with anybody else not advancing. Do you ever watch, there's this guy on YouTube, I forget what his channel, it's just Nigerian women's soccer and I'll send it to you. His videos are so funny because like he'll do highlights of Nigerian players of their club teams and while just like casually shitting on other people. Like, she did really great there, but so-and-so could have done a little better with what she was
that's
given.
great.
But like completely here for the Super Falcons, like all Super Falcons all the time.
Yeah.
Because like sometimes that's the only way, because the AFCON stuff is not always easy to watch either. So a lot of it I have to go get over there. And So I come across his stuff quite a bit. He's very funny.
Yeah,
So
definitely
I'll
send it
that.
over because I'll make sure my friend sees it too, because he's always just like during the Olympics, during the World Cup, I'm constantly texting him, "Are you watching the game?" And he goes, "I'm at work." I'm like, "But are you watching
But
the
are
game?
you watching the
I didn't
game?
ask you what else you were doing. I asked you if you were
No.
watching the game."
I constant forgetful. I lose shit all the time. So I actually I lost my wallet for a while and it was a whole ordeal, Angela knows.
Yep.
I ended up buying a wallet that one magnet attaches to my phone, and two has built-in AirTag. It's actually come in handy more often than you think. But with it, it's actually it because it's a magnet and it becomes a little stand, and that has become such a lifesaver, especially during the Euros, because I'm at work during the Euros and then I'll be at home for Copa America. So during the Euros, I have my, instead of having it on my screen somewhere, I have it on my phone right under my screen on its own little stand, and I'm like, this is perfect. This is exactly how I need to
Yep.
watch this right now.
I feel like America is the one country that doesn't quite understand that everything needs to stop.
Yeah.
When there's massive soccer, massive sporting events. No, we just don't know. You're not getting production out of anyone.
Yeah.
Even if they are like a not sports person, nothing's happening.
No, well,
let us watch.
Even like the Super Bowl, I'm like, don't make people go to work the next day.
No.
What are you, especially the East Coast, that goes late for them. Let's just all call it a holiday. And I know it syncs up now sometimes with, I think, Lincoln's, but whatever the February one is, some people might have that off. So that's,
yeah, but no, not really. Like
Yeah.
nobody really has that day off. And
No.
we just should have big sporting events. Like you can work a half day if you want, or you can work from home. I know you're just watching sports. Yeah. And I'm the one person at my job who was like invested in multiple sports. They're like, one of the people who used to work with us, that's weird. And he's obsessed with UFC. And I was just like, so me watching 72 basketball games during the first weekend of March Madness is weird. But you watching, and I was like, I was so mean about it. I was like, you watching two half naked dudes fight each other isn't? And he just went, and I said, yeah, you can play that game.
Well, and you pay extra for it too. Like you're spending extra money. My stuff's just on my regular TV.
Yeah, I'm already paying for streaming. Yeah, it's a whole thing. But for the Super Falcons, for our more casual fans, they have 5 NWSL players on their roster, which is half the reason why the NWSL has elevated so much in the last few years, I think, is the integration of folks from the African leagues coming over, because they're just that good and that fast and that crafty and have such varied backgrounds that it shows in their play. And I think that's the biggest thing, is they aren't being funneled into soccer at like age 7. They're playing soccer and running around and playing other things and just doing what everybody does as a kid as they get older, instead of being as hyper focused as we are here in the States. You're given the freedom to explore how to move your body differently. Dance styles are different. Rhythms are different. There's so much that's different culturally that allows so much to change within their style of play, which is amazing.
Yeah, I think that was one of the things I was struck most with on their roster too. Was like they probably have the most diverse roster in terms of where people are playing, because you've got the 5 NWSL players, but they got somebody playing in the Russian league. I didn't know Russia had a women's league.
I didn't. What?
There's a women's league in Russia?
Yeah.
Like I guess I should have, because actually they pay women. That was the whole why Brittany Griner went over there and other people would go there and play basketball. So in hindsight,
pay money.
Yeah, they'll pay. So I guess there's that, but they've got players playing in all sorts of different leagues, which can be a blessing and a curse. If you look at Spain, with probably like the least diversity of where people are playing. Obviously that's going fine for them, but it can be, I think it's interesting and gives you a lot of different options and some versatility. So there's just a ton of really exciting players to watch. Nicole Payne, who is newer to NWSL, was a USC Trojan. Boo. Sorry if you're Trojans, but I'm a proud Bruins. I will put my boo in. I'm sure she's a nice person. I also married into a Trojan family. I didn't know. If I'd known, I wouldn't have shown up to the first date if I'd had any idea. Because my husband didn't go to USC, but both of his brothers did. He's like 4th generation.
Yeah.
And my husband's a triplet, so he wanted to go his own way. So he went to Santa Barbara. And anyway, you didn't need that
big
full
West school. I went to Long Beach State, and I refuse to do anything related to Cal State Fullerton. Like the games that Angel City plays out there, I don't go. I'm like, nope, no, thank you.
I love that conference. It's so fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, USC, she went to, we'll forgive her that. But then signed with PSG, got loaned out pretty quick, but she's already become pretty integral for Portland and is starting as of the end of May. And so now she's signed over permanently from PSG. I don't even think she was on the roster for the World Cup for Nigeria. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with her here. So I'm excited because she seems to really be on the rise.
Yeah, I love getting through the international tournaments. I love getting these glimpses, like you said, of who's going to be the breakout star, who the newer players are, because it's, oh, you're like 19. I'm going to get to watch you for 20 years. Cool.
Yeah. And you never know.
Yeah.
One of the other player that I'm really excited to see this tournament is Uchebe, Christy Uchebe, who currently plays with Benfica. And I did not have the time to go back and look at this, but my recollection is that she is fairly responsible for the midfield effort to keep Kira Walsh completely out of play against England and the round of 16. If that seems to be my recollection.
That sounds very familiar.
Yeah. Or Lauren James or somebody. She did something, because maybe that might have been the match Kira Walsh didn't play. I can't remember. Yeah. But her midfield shutdown game is good, is my recollection. And I just think she's been playing center back a little bit too for Benfica. So I'm curious how she's going to be utilized here for Nigeria. But she's a star and she's clearly loving her time at Benfica. If you go look at her Instagram, she's very up on their quadruple win. And she's just,
good.
Yeah. Only 23 though. She to me feels like such a part of the Nigerian roster. I did not realize she was that young. I will be curious to see where she goes after this, because I think she's going to have options.
Yeah. As I get older, seeing how young players are, I'm like, what? It doesn't make sense, because my brain does that thing where, no, everybody's the same age as me. They're obviously not, but we grow up together. So I'm watching these players. I'm like, oh, I've been watching for 10 years. You're totally in your 30s. And they're like 24. I'm like, cool.
Ellie Carpenter is the other one that always trips me up, because she's been on the scene since she was 16. I thought she was like in her 30s, and then it's like 23-year-old Ellie Carpenter. I'm like,
never mind.
I have no qualms about getting older or being the age I am, but there's times when I see those memes when it's like someone's trying to convince me that I'm like 35, but really I'm 25 or something to that effect of, I've been 25 and sometimes I feel like that my brain still thinks I might be like 25 years old, but no,
my body is not.
My body's no. Like when I go running, I feel it now. Like when I drink a little too much, I feel it. Like there's signs that I'm not 25 anymore.
There's signs. Yeah, but on top of those players, like back to the NWSL of it all, Asisat, who plays for BFC, is obviously going to be a standout in the tournament. She shows up at every moment she can, especially for her home, like for her country. That's just, it's different regardless of sport. Even if there is tumultuous strife or war or all the things in your country, the second you put on your crest, it's different. Like given everything here, you could say, Angela, you have 6 months to train and then you're gonna go throw for Team USA. I'd be like, USA all the way. Let's go. I'm in the gym every day, like all kinds of things. Just, it's so different. And she plays so well on the international stage. She plays well for her club. So it's okay. Of course she's going to step up. But I feel like Nigeria will most likely score the most. That's how I feel about it. Out of this group, I think they're going to have a good chance getting out of this group the more I look at this.
Yeah, they're not the team I'm the most worried about. I would say I'm worried about Brazil and Japan in this group, actually, which we could, the Brazil roster, we can talk for 2 hours about this. This Brazil roster is probably the only, if there is a roster that is as contentious or strange as the US roster. I don't even think the US roster is quite as contentious or strange as the Brazil one, but this one could also merit that many conversations, because there's a lot.
Yeah, there's so much happening on this roster. And I don't even know where to start with Brazil.
We all find out Caroline is apparently going to come off of SCI by the announcement that she's on the Brazil roster. That was a surprise. Because that's a very quick turnaround from an ACL, which like great, love to see it. We so seldom get to see people on that end of the outcome. But you're taking her, she has had no game minutes, and you've decided to take her, which I get the risk, but you just leave Dabinia at home.
This is one of those I want to be a fly on the wall in the room where the decisions were made, like in the room where it happens. Give me the intel. I won't share it with people who are going to blab about it. Like we said on an episode a couple weeks ago, I was like, I love chisme and gossip and all of the things, and I just want to know it. That's it. I don't actually share it 99% of the time. I'm just like, ooh, and then I keep it. I file it away for when it's needed, or if I need a reference of a character or something like that. But this is one of those times. What I get wanting to have a younger roster, but at the same time, it's Dabinia.
Yeah. And I don't know if some of it is, obviously she had her own injury trouble. I don't think she's looking good coming back. So I don't know if it's, you feel comfortable about other folks being a little bit further ahead than her based on what we've seen. But it's Dabinia. Like, she's literally there with the whole Nike ad last tournament. Like, it's Dabinia. And I don't get it. But then you weren't leaving Marta at home. Marta's playing great also, in addition to,
which is what my note was. I was like, is this her last Olympics? Who knows? Because she and I are a week apart age-wise, and she's aging backwards. Like, what is she doing? I need to understand.
Yeah, I don't know if it's, I think it's one of those things where for her, maybe the light at the end of the tunnel is giving her a boost.
Yeah.
But she's playing great.
Yeah,
so
she is.
You weren't leaving her at home. Oh gosh, I always butcher her pronunciation. Is it Gase or Gase?
I have no idea. United. Portuguese is different.
Yeah, I heard it so many different times. I think it's like Jace, I think I want to say, but didn't have a great run for Manchester United this year quite, but I think that's mostly Mark Skinner's fault. And I hate Mark Skinner. I don't wish him well. And this man just does not understand his place in the women's soccer ecosystem, and it kills me. So he's just going to catch strays here. He's not even at the Olympics, but she's off the roster entirely. And then they've moved on from Duda Santos in the midfield, unless she's injured and I just didn't see it. Which, speaking of injuries, I have not seen yet who they're replacing Bia with, because Bia, obviously, Kansas City, lights out season so far, but now with her foot injury not going to be at the tournament, I have not seen them announce who's replacing her. I don't think they have a great replacement for her, frankly. I just think she provides something fairly unique.
She's a different level of player.
Yeah. That's a bummer, but I think what also, speaking of breakout stars, so this is a team where I think half of their roster, not half, but close to half their roster plays for Corinthians or something like that in the Brazilian league. And a lot of players after major tournaments seem to be moving into NWSL. That seems to be where most of the Brazilians like to go.
The Marta recruitment system.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We'll see how many of them go. The ones so Tarciane, who's obviously now for Houston Dash, made such an impression at that Gold Cup. I did not realize she was not on their World Cup roster until I went and looked.
Yeah, when I saw your notes, I looked at that. I was like, huh? And then I went and I did probably the same thing you did of just like, wait a second. And she's having a fantastic season since coming into NWSL. Since she will be a household name, I think, easily in the next year.
Yeah, because it's not just like she like single-handedly held that backline together, I think, against the US in the final.
Yeah.
And then her facial expressions.
Yeah.
She's just a walking meme generator. So she's a star. She's just a star. So I'm so glad she's in the NWSL, but she just feels one of those people where, like, if I looked, she could have been like 38 and been on the Brazilian roster for my whole life. And I would have just assumed that was the case. Yeah. She's 20. That's super cool. And I think that the two I'm eyeing, as I don't know if they have the meme generation potential of Tarciane, but Duda Sampaio and Yaya, I think the accent was on the second part, in the midfield, both playing together at Corinthians. So I think that clearly, again, moving on from some people in the midfield and going with both of these younger players who play together at club, I'll be very curious to see how that goes.
Yeah, I fully agree with your note. That having a pairing like that is either going to go super well because they're already locked in mentally, or it won't because they might be locked in together, but that doesn't necessarily equate to them being locked in with the rest of the team.
Yeah.
So,
and they have to do it on a world stage with a different
Yeah.
The different
With
combo of players. It feels are so weird. It's
Mhm.
such a like weird chemistry thing.
Yeah.
It's
They
like it's a little bit
go
like yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, no, it's okay. I was gonna say they just go from being this like brick wall of defense and to stop the offensive progression to a very lacy piece of Swiss cheese very quickly. And there's no, I'm just speaking from like the ACFC of it all. Like you see these games where we just lock it down and it's great. And then the next game, it's just wholly waving in the wind. I don't know what's going on. So I'm very curious how those two are going to gel with the rest of the midfield to really lock it in for them. Which I hope, it's one of those things. I hope every team in this group plays exceptional. I just want fantastic soccer.
I want my heart broken a little bit is how I want to feel about this group. I want everyone to play so well that I'm like devastated by the outcome. Do you all watch House of the Dragon? I want to feel a little bit like I felt this most recent episode. I'm like, this is so good. I hate it, but it's sad, but it's so good.
Yeah,
so,
that's
like,
exactly
what a bonding for that character. But anyway, I want to feel like that, and I just hope everybody sorts it out and it's glorious. This is just going to be good to watch. Yeah. And then they don't go flame out in the quarterfinal. I don't want them to all then just like disappear on me either. I want them to like yeah. I want to see them all. I don't want to have it was like this with the group with France and Brazil and Jamaica last time. It was the best group. It was so fun to watch. And then it didn't pan out past, and I had to watch England.
Everyone was just like, oh, all right. Just bummed that none of the flashier teams made it past the quarters and into the semis. Like it just petered out at that point. Yeah. But fantastic recap of these teams. Mario just dropped in another thing, which is a fantastic point to make. These 4 teams have fantastic kits.
Yeah.
Who wins the kit war? I have my first and second place. This
was off the cuff. I just, as you guys were talking, I behind the scenes grabbed all these pictures because we have been talking about just some awesome kits. And I have famously at work when we've done March Madness, again, not an X's and O's person, very kind of casual. When it comes to March Madness, I have no clue what's going on. So I recreated brackets by like mascots or by team colors and then chosen that way. So I brought up the kits for Spain, Japan, Brazil, and Nigeria. And just based off the kit, who do you got? Who's moving on out of the group?
I think it's definitely Nigeria. I feel confident about that. It's my second place because I loved Spain and Japan's kits at the World Cup. I am less in love with the Olympic ones, just a little bit less. And I gotta see Japan. I feel like Japan's away kit was not exciting to me because it's the away kits make or break you, right? I think you can go splashy.
But the Cherry Blossom one was an alternate kit, right? It was like their third kit for Japan. That's the kind of pinkish.
They only wore.
I love that one.
The Cherry Blossom kit needs to be like their regular kit. I think.
Yes. Yeah. I completely agree. I think I'm going Spain. I don't like their away kit as much as I liked the World Cup one. That one was just stunning. This one though is also pretty. Brazil's kits I know they're like iconic, but they've just never quite done it for me,
I just don't want to wear that much yellow like ever. And it's my favorite color. I already do
that for Sweden. I don't.
Look, there can't be 2 yellow teams.
State. Yeah. Long Beach took all of my ability to wear yellow for like at least a decade out of me. And they're like, they're iconic, but I think part of it too is Nike kits make me sad because you have these think tanks and you come out with these crazy ideas and all of these cool things. And then you give us a bland kit. I'm like, and it is so irritating.
And now we're not even talking about Brazil, are we?
No, we're talking about kits in general.
And maybe the NWSL kits.
So frustrated.
Like the NWSL kits, the national team. Like I looked up because I have a bunch of jerseys hanging up just right out of the screen, and I have Dodger jerseys, WNBA jerseys, and then 2 plain white women's national team, the ones that have the red and blue on the cuff, and I'm just like, thanks. Everybody loves a white t-shirt. Like, oh
my God, I stained mine so bad the other week at the men's game, and it was just I looked at it and I was like, this is That's what Dawn Power Wash is for. Because
Yeah.
here we are. Because there are dips on this shirt now.
Yeah, I so want the Waldo kit back. They need to do a throwback official
Yeah,
Waldo
do something
kit.
fun.
Yeah.
Something other
Yeah.
than white. Come on. Okay.
Yeah.
So we've got Nigeria being a favorite and
Wait,
Spain
hold
being a
on.
favorite.
What's your pick,
My pick?
Mario? What's your what's your kit pick?
Kit pick. Mine. Okay, so I'm gonna go with Nigeria and Japan. I just like the texture, the kind of tone on tone color of Japan.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Nigeria kits, although in the past have been super, like the patterns have been super crazy and I love it and like crazy in a good way. I think the simplicity of this kind of like a neon lemon lime green it looks, see, there's a way to do a plain color, a solid color in a nice
Yes.
way.
Yep.
US, take your notes. And then the detail on the cuff, on the sleeve cuff, the kind of chevron pattern, it looks good. It's clean. It looks
Yeah, it
good.
looks
And
sharp.
I'm like, yeah. So yeah, I think kit wars, I'm gonna go with the Nigeria kit and Japan.
Yeah, that's where my picks were.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Wrapping this all up. This is the Olympics. There are other sports that are happening. Casey, what are the other events that you might be looking forward to during the Olympics?
Swimming. I love watching Olympic swimming. I love that one. I'll watch all of them. I don't care. I'm like every race, whatever it is, I don't care. I swam as well growing up, and I have a lot of swimmers in my family, so that's always been fun to watch. And for whatever reason, the Bay Area, especially the East Bay where I grew up, was like when we moved up here, my parents tried to sign me up for a tennis club, and they were like, "Oh, you need to sign her up for swimming." And my mom's, they're not really like competitive swimmers. And the person at the club goes, "Do you want your kids to have friends during the summer?" And my mom is like, "Yes." She goes, "You need to join a swim team." And it's like this deep ride or die thing up here where
Yeah.
like everybody who grew up here can tell you what their rec club was. It's like a whole, even still, I'm like, F that club. It's very, very deep. Kudos forever. Anyway, and then thus we also have a lot of people who came up here that do end up making the Olympics. And there's people that one of the funniest, sorry, this is probably way more than you asked for. You can edit me out. But
No.
It's all good.
Natalie Coughlin, who obviously has won a lot of gold medals and swimming, is from one town over from where I grew up. And she's now in the area. And the rec swim teams do this thing where they have parents do a relay at one of the meets. And her kids now swim for one of the rec teams, and she showed up for the relay.
That's when I was like, never mind. Like, just
So my buddies were all like, "This is a little unfair. Maybe I don't need to swim against Natalie Coughlin." Like,
oh my
nuts.
gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the reality of sports. I think a lot of people don't quite get is when someone ages out and starts their family or like just decides to stop competing or whatever, all of a sudden they start showing up at like your local events and you're like, oh, all right. Like, that happens. Like, yeah.
All right.
I'm
Angela, what are you going for?
Basketball, track and field, volleyball, all of the more sports I played. Honestly, it's everything. On one of the other episodes we've recorded, I said you need to stay up and watch handball if you haven't ever. It is so wild and so much fun.
So fun. Handball's great.
I don't understand any of the rules. I don't care. It's great. Badminton is also mesmerizing to watch because it's so fast. It's not your backyard little badminton game.
No, they go hard.
You are going to get smacked in the face with either a racket or the shuttlecock if you're not paying attention. So I just love everything high intensity that makes me nervous. Like I'm sitting there just like edge of my seat. Oh my God. I want a 8th gold medal for the women's basketball team. I want a back-to-back gold for volleyball. Like just give me all the women's sports. That's what it is.
Yeah. Water polo is the other one that's also a little bit.
Ooh, yeah.
They got Flava Flav sponsoring the team.
Yeah,
I freaking love it.
Flava Flav was like, "Love you," which like Maggie Steffens, the captain there, is another. She and my sister swam against each other for a very long time and would like trade pool records and stuff. She's been, I like know of her, but have never met her. So it's always cool just to see. I know who you are.
Yeah, that whole story has been wild. Just Flava Flav being like, "I got you." I'm sponsoring this team. Let's go, Team USA. I love it.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
More people with a lot of money who want to give it away need to do that for women's teams across the world.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to a swimming, and my daughter's getting really into swimming. So I'm excited. She likes to see we've been watching the Olympics meets, the qualifying meets, which she's been having fun watching while she's like playing with others. She's only 7, so still like she's running around the house doing other stuff, but then she'll stop and watch. And she's interested in gymnastics. So having like gymnastics just like in the forefront for a month is going to be really fun. But
With
then
the most prolific, high flying gymnastics team that we've ever had.
Yeah.
This team is going to be so freaking good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I'm interested to see what the new sports are going to be like in an Olympic setting, right? Yes, they exist in a competition setting, right? Skateboarding, BMX, surfing, but an Olympics is slightly different. There's like those sports are already international. You're already having, but then I think it's different when you're competing for your flag, right? Like in the X Games, they're competing for themselves. They just happen to be from Spain or they happen to be from Japan. Like it's just that's like the secondary note. Whereas in the Olympics, the first note before their name is going to be from Spain, from Japan, from the US, and then it's their name. And so I think it's I think it's going to be a different kind of attitude towards it. And I'm really excited to see how that plays out. All right, everyone. Thank you for hanging out this long. Again, reminder of where to watch everything. Everything will be on Peacock. If you want to watch it live on TV, broadcast probably at a bar somewhere, check out the NBC Olympic website and you'll see the broadcast schedule. Soccer matches are going to be on Telemundo and Universo in Spanish and the USA Network in English. But like we said, Peacock app, just stream everything, take the day off, watch it. First matches for Group C will be Thursday, July 25th, 8 a.m. for Spain and Japan, 10 a.m. for Nigeria, Brazil. Sunday, July 28th, 8 a.m. for Brazil, Japan, 10 a.m. for Spain, Nigeria. And then the final group match stage will be on Wednesday, July 31st. Both matches will be at 8 a.m. for Group C. It'll be Japan, Nigeria, and Brazil, Spain.
Awesome. Casey, aside from the Olympics, anything, excuse me, anything coming your way, anything you want to promote, or just like soccer knowledge, anything you want to drop?
Oh, I don't know that I have anything specific. I think I know there's Olympics, but you can watch NWSL and Liga MX Femenil play in their little cup. I forget the name of it because there's like all the cup names are too many. But I'm really excited because there's been a lot of people wanting to have conversations about how strong this league actually is. And on the one hand, you're like, okay, the Olympics are going on, all these teams lost a lot of people, but the Olympics are actually pretty small in terms of how many teams are there for women's soccer and how many players get to be there because of the roster. So most of the NWSL teams, with the exception of Orlando, really.
Orlando and Gotham, I think, have the most.
Yeah, they got hit a little bit. So, and I think Portland, but other than that, a lot of these other teams are fairly intact. We should still get a good comparison there. So it'll be fun to watch. Check that out.
Definitely. So make sure you follow Caseysonthecase at both TikTok and Instagram. She's fantastic, a fantastic follow. So knowledgeable, so fun. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. I'm so pumped for this group. I know you are. Like, it's just going to be good soccer I want to say all summer, but it's like for 2 weeks. But
I know it's gonna be
still feels all summer.
People keep being like, it's gonna be so long, and I'm going, do you not remember the W Gold Cup? Like that thing where you snapped your fingers and it was over, and it's gonna be
it's so fast.
Yeah, really intense, really fast, which is good. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be fun.
Absolutely. And just as a reminder, we are doing a giveaway on our Instagram for a fantastic soccer bundle from Alphabet Legends, a whole bunch of books and a puzzle and all kinds of ABC books that basically give you every cool sports legend across soccer, men's, women's, international, all the cool stuff. To enter, make sure you comment on one of the posts for the Olympics only. And you can do one entry per post, and we will give you a bonus entry if you share and tag us. And the winner is going to be announced after the group stages. So keep an eye out I'm super excited for this.
Yeah.
Mario and I both want to keep everything, but we're being very good stewards of free products and partnerships and making sure that they get to a new home where they can be appreciated. But if you've listened this far and you liked what you heard, make sure you subscribe on whatever platform you're listening to us on. You can check out casualfc.com for all of the links to all of the streaming platforms. And if you want to support the pod in any other ways, make sure you like, share, comment, engage with posts, engage with episodes, everything you can, because the more engagement you provide, the better the algorithms treat us. And it's just like a weird pay for play, one for one thing that nobody likes, but we just have to do it anyway. Grab any Angel City related Casual FC merch on our website at shop.casualfc.com. Who knows? We might throw something weird for the Olympics up. I don't know what's going on. We have more ideas coming per usual. And then if you feel so inclined and you want to monetarily support the podcast, make sure you go to the link in our bio and click on the one that says buy me a coffee, or you can just go straight to buymeacoffee.com/casualfcpod. It's not one of those things we ask for, but it's one of the things we appreciate the most to help keep the lights on and keep this thing running. And last but not least, make sure you follow us on social media at casualfcpod on Instagram, Twitter, Threads, and TikTok. But like we say, everybody always knows we just really focus on Instagram. We're too
TikTok's
old
hard.
as elder millennials. TikTok is hard and it hates us. So who knows? We'll see. But make sure you tell a friend about the pod. Spread the word. We just want to bring more fun people into the women's soccer community. And I think we're doing all right. We're sending good luck to Angel City to heal and get better and find our midfield and find our scoring prowess. And hopefully by the end of this Olympic break, we will be a brand new team. But yeah, that's it. Thanks for hanging out with us, Casey. Thanks for listening to the episode. We will see you real soon.
Bye.